All right, everybody, welcome back to Philadelphia Eagles Talk with Geoff and Matt, as we are both here to recap. No, we're not. We're here to preview. We did the recap. Here to preview. Gotta love nothing better than live video. We're not going to start over. We're not going to back up. We're just going to go with it. We're going to roll with it. That's what we do here. We're here to preview the Carolina Panthers game. It's coming up this week in Philadelphia. The Eagles are home. Seems like it's been forever since they've been home. So home game against the Carolina Panthers. We're going to get into that. We're going to dive into some injury. So as they're starting to pile up for the Eagles, they've been, knock on wood, pretty healthy most of the season, but these injuries are starting to pile up a little bit. So we'll dig into that a little bit. And that's pretty much it. So probably be a pretty quick and short show today. And before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe. So we're trying to build up the audience here on this YouTube channel. This show has been on for over 2 years on the audio side, podcast side, and we launched it on YouTube just when the season started. So appreciate your help in liking and subscribing. All right, Matt, welcome aboard as always, and
good to be here.
Opening general thoughts on this upcoming game before we get into the actual keys of the game. Just your general thoughts on the team and with the season so far and the Panthers.
Yeah, it's a avoid the trap game, take care of your business game. We'll talk about injuries and stuff, but there shouldn't be anything that should be that impactful against this Carolina Panther team, although they are playing better, and especially from the quarterback position with Bryce Young and, having Adam Thielen back healthy has clearly helped. They lost their...
He's back now, right?
He's back, yep. Having him back has been a huge stability type thing for the Panthers to get some experience back on the field. And otherwise, though, the Panthers, they're just playing for pride at this point. And if they can knock off a top team, they're going to show up for it. So gotta make sure we take care of business.
Yep, and you mentioned how they almost did knock off a top team in Kansas City a couple weeks ago. So playing a lot better. Definitely a team that you can never take lightly. And we'll see what the Eagles do injury-wise. Like I'm talking about, it looks like Smith, Devontae is going to give it a go this week. He tried to last week, just wasn't able to go. But you wonder if this week they might err on the side of caution, being that they're playing the Panthers. But again, we're sitting there talking about not taking them lightly and take them serious and all that kind of thing. So why take the chance of just giving Smith, if he's ready to go, an extra week just because it's the Panthers, and then, we potentially could lose the game, So we'll see. I would think Devontae's probably going to go.
Yeah, I think you got to at least start the game. And if you're up by 2 touchdowns by halftime, then fine. Rest guys that are injured like Smith. Give Dotson some time. But you have to tackle this game just like any other game because Detroit is where Detroit's at. And so is Minnesota. So you cannot lightly take any of these weekends.
Exactly.
Nothing guaranteed.
Exactly. They can't afford to take to have a mentality where they're going to, treat this game any different than any other game. So to your point, I think if Smith is able to go, which sounds like he is going to be, that he will be back this week. And that certainly will help the Eagles passing offense for sure, which seems to be just, I don't know. It's just, it always just seems like it's such a uphill battle in the passing game this year. They don't really have the flow that you would think a team with all these stars on it. Occasionally they'll do it, like the drive. We watched the game, and there's like periods of the game where they'll actually just do what they should be doing, and that is like go to AJ Brown over the middle on slants. And they did it in the third quarter, I think it was, in this last game, and he caught every single one of them. And that's one of the drives that they end up going down and scoring. So I don't know why they screw around with like flat passes out to Shipley, and I don't get what they do with their overall game plan, scripted plays, because they're just stick with what we do good. I don't get it. You got AJ Brown, use them.
The counterpoint to that though isn't it amazing that you can get guys in there like Will Shipley, and it's no detriment to your team. Like you can score pretty much at will with the guys that you want to. Like it's pretty crazy that they have that much talent and that much confidence to be able to pretty much turn it on and off like a switch so far.
Yeah.
I mean, if they run the ball, they're not going to pass it as much. So, the receiver stats, we're probably way under all of our receiver predictions on the year.
Yeah,
I would get.
we have to be. Yeah, we got it.
And we're probably under Barkley. We're probably under Barkley by about 5.
Barkley. Remember, I mentioned that last show. I didn't bother with Barkley.
We didn't.
I had it written down, but we didn't actually. I didn't ask the questions. I skipped over by mistake.
I probably would have guessed 1,300 yards, and he's going to be well over that. So,
yeah, I would have guessed around 1,300, or maybe a little bit higher. It might have been closer to like 15-ish with Barkley, which I would be pretty close. But he's going to be pushing 2,000 with the extra 17th game for this year. He might make a run at Dickerson's record too. We'll see.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So digging in a little bit to before we get going, a little news around the league, Eagles related, is Special Teams Player of the Week is our punter, man, who I shouted out as a thumbs up during our recap. So good for him. He was amazing in that game. Punted inside the 25 out of 6 times, and a couple of times I think inside the 10. Shout out also to Sidney Brown, who helped him ground it, at the 1 yard line on that one punt. So, so injuries. Just wanted to kind of go over the injuries before we get into the keys of the game. Talked about how some of the injuries are piling up. We know that Brandon Graham's out for the year. By the way, he had his surgery Tuesday, so yesterday. So there's that. There apparently Huff has only got a couple more weeks left on the IR, so it's possible he could return as early as 3 weeks from now. We'll see. I think at this point we could use him as like a third round pass, specialist, or third down pass specialist. If nothing else, because I think the way Jalen Hunt's come on, and we're going to rewatch the game. Hunt played really well.
They played fine last week without BG. So if they keep up that every week, man, we're going to be all right.
Yeah, but it'd be good to get Huff back also, so that because he is a third, he is a pass rushing specialist. So if he's able to come back for the end of the year and he can add a little bit of depth, then we can bring him in on third down or something like that. That'll I think can only help, or at least at the very least we'll have extra depth there, because right now we're really thin on the end. Reed Blankenship had a concussion, and he is more than likely, most of the time when players have concussions, they're not able to return the following week. So I think it's highly likely there's no Reed Blankenship this weekend. So we'll see probably McCullum again, and maybe Sidney Brown. It seems to me that, according to Fangio, that he's is it McCullough? It's McCullough, right? He's a little bit ahead of Christian McCullough. He's a little Christian, right?
Tristan.
Oh, Tristan McCullough. Yeah. Okay. He's ahead of Sidney because I asked Fangio about it. He said that because the guy practiced, he was there the whole year in the off season, preseason, where Sidney was still coming back from his ACL injury. So he's really just overplaying him because he's just knows him better, and he knows he's been, he's practiced more with the team. So he seems to be a little ahead of Sidney in terms of just knowledge of the defense, I guess. Maybe if you read between the lines. And maybe trust him more, because as we know, Sidney's a little bit of a heat-seeking missile out there, and he might just a guy like Fangio might want to play the safe card versus a guy that's out there and potentially could miss a big tackle and something like that. And then the other injury is Dallas Goedert, who ended up hurting himself. I rewatched the play, and he went for a block, went low on the guy, and the way that he kind of put his knees onto the ground to get into him low, he almost hyperextended his own left knee. So I don't know how bad the injury is, but apparently it looks like he's going to be out for at least a week. They're saying he's designated week to week, but I'm hearing he could be out like 3 weeks, and even a potential IR. So if they put him on IR, that's 4 weeks. So just bad technique blocking. If you see the play, it's actually right after he had that. Remember, he had that third down, the crucial third down cross play that Hurts hit him on. And then the next play was like a 13-yard run by Barkley. It was on that play. So it's the next play after his catch when Barkley has a little run to the left where he's blocking over here on this side and hurts himself. So, I want to talk about Goddard because he's starting to become injury prone. Like, how many games does this guy miss every year? It seems,
3 or 4. It seems like 3 or 4 games he's out for the last 3 years.
Yeah. So he's getting older now. I think he's like late 20s. So you wonder if maybe in this year's draft, how he might start considering, the tight end of the future type thing. If it's not going to be 81 there, Calcaterra.
Yeah, we'll see. Grant, it'd be cool to see Grant get a couple catches.
Yep.
He seems to be totally capable, especially in the passing game.
Yeah. So with that injury, look for Calcaterra to be the starter, and they just signed Azuma from the practice squad. So he'll probably be the backup tight end this coming Sunday. So it's a 1:00 game at the Link. The fans will be fired up as always, even for Carolina. That's it really for injuries. I mean, Slay is also, he should be back because this will be 2 weeks after his concussion. So typically they're able to clear protocol by then. But as of today, he was still in protocol. So he's got 3 to 4 days to go here. But I would expect Slay probably should be back also this weekend. All right. All that said, by the way, I voted for the Pro Bowl. I don't know if you have, Matt, yet, but you can go to NFL.com, and if you ever do that. I try to do it every year, but so the Pro Bowl voting's up right now. And for you out there.
I think the Eagles will get 4 players to the Pro Bowl.
Okay. What are the 4?
Lane Johnson.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley. Jalen Carter.
If he doesn't make it, there's a problem.
And Cooper DeJean.
There I am sinking again. There you go. See how I just grew 4 inches? Well, Cooper, really? You think Cooper's getting enough votes as a rookie?
I think Cooper gets all the press. So I think when there's highlight plays to be made, the Quenion's kind of silent and Cooper gets all the press. So I'll say Cooper's my kind of dark horse to make it, but him and Quenion deserve to be there.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Rookies are always like, you have to be like like you were saying, highlight real rookie to make the Pro Bowl your rookie season.
I think a lot of people watched Coop take out Derrick Henry on that tackle.
Yeah, that's true. And the safeties or corner, whatever he's going to be listed under. I did vote, but he's on there. I know he's on there for special teams, believe it or not. Like, he's on there for special teams, not Covey. And I think it's because Covey missed most of the year. Mm-hmm. He's got to be listed probably under corner. Anyway, I think totally agree with you on Barkley. A.J. Brown probably won't because he just hasn't had the number of throws to him. Plus, there's a lot of competition at wide receiver. So Barkley should get there for sure. Jalen Carter should. He's got a lot of competition too at the tackle, but he doesn't have the thing with Carter is he doesn't have a lot of sacks, but anyone who watches the Eagles game knows how dominant he is. And he's starting to get some national recognition for sure. So Carter should be there. I agree. Baughn's got to get in.
Yeah, Baughan could be number 4 easy.
I don't know how Baughan could not get in.
But I'm not sure if his name slips below the radar with fans.
Well, true. If you look at tackles, he's like second in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
And in the Pro Bowl voting, they actually have like tackles, sacks, forced fumbles, or something like that. He's got more than he's second in tackles. He's like top in fumbles caused, and he's got like enough sacks where he's amongst the leaders too for linebackers. So he's got all the stats.
He deserves it.
So he should get in, but we'll see. You're right. He's not a marquee name, but you look at what he's done, and hopefully he gets recognized. So yeah, just let you guys know that the voting is up. So make sure you vote if you want. If you don't want, that's okay too. All right. Let's we talked about the injuries. Let's get to the old. I always forget to do my little supers here.
Need to produce. Is that going to be a paying job or a free job?
The producer?
We got a producer.
Right now, it'll have to be free.
Video. Yeah.
It have to be free for now, but
Pizza.
Once the show hits it big, then we can afford to up the ante. There we go. I don't even have the banner running. All right, so let's get into the keys to the game. So what are the keys, top of your head, of beating the Panthers other than just showing up? I was kidding. How do you beat the Panthers this weekend?
Well, I mean, Chuba Hubbard has kind of gone a little bit cold the last couple weeks.
Good back, though.
He's a good running back, so stop the run. If you stop the run, they're not going to be able to pass and make many plays against this defense. So just make sure you take care of the run. And I expect that the Eagles would get a turnover or two, on defense. Offensively, don't start slow. Start out fast and put this team behind you.
Yeah,
so we play our scrubs by halftime.
If we can't score in the first quarter against the Panthers, the problems that I'm thinking we have in the first quarter and slow starts is worse than I could imagine.
See,
score.
I love it. I would love it if they can get into the second half and you see more Gainwell and Shipley and and put Tanner McKee in. I want the game to be so far out of hand that Tanner McKee comes in and gets some fourth quarter play.
Yeah, that's a really good thing, point to make for not only this game, but like the Eagles' remaining schedule, because they had such an early bye this year, and we're not sure if we're going to get that first round bye. Right now, we don't have it. We need Detroit to slip up, and we got to keep winning to get that first round bye. We get the day, the weekend off, which is why it's so important the Eagles get it, because they've had one of the earlier byes this year. But to your point, if they have a schedule where that type of reality is very possible, where the Eagles can get up on these teams, the Giants, the Panthers, even the Cowboys, and give these guys pretty much the whole second half off, or at least the fourth quarter off, and get them some rests, and so they can, better position themselves for their playoff run. So hopefully this is one of those games. It should be. I mean, the Eagles are clearly the dominant team here. But, there's not like the record. This was the Jaguars. Matt and I told you when they played the Jaguars earlier. Those are always tough games. It doesn't matter how bad the Jaguars suck. They will come into Philly and always play the Eagles tough.
Yep.
Not so sure about Carolina. I can't even remember the last time the Eagles played Carolina. Actually, as I say that, I do. I was actually down in the Outer Banks. It was the one year that I went late in the fall. And they killed them. It was the other one of Super Bowl, as a matter of fact. So it was 2017. I don't even have to look that up because it all just came to me just now. So 2017 was the last time the Eagles played the Panthers, and they killed them. And that was the year they won the Super Bowl. So maybe this is a good omen. So we're playing them at home this time.
Yeah, maybe that's the one stat that we don't have to check on this show. You're so sure about that stat. Everything else might be wrong, but that one. 2017 is going to be.
I just remember now. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I was down the Outer Banks. I was thinking about going to the game because I thought it was closer than it was. I'm like, I thought it was closer to where the Carolina Panthers play than I was in the Outer Banks. Nope. It was like a 9-hour drive or something. Like, okay.
I've made that drive from Charlotte to the Outer Banks. It's about 6.5 hours.
Okay. Yeah. It was long. It was much longer than I thought. I was thinking 3 hours.
But no. Yeah. No, you're driving horizontally across the entire width of the state there.
Yeah. So I ruled that out pretty quick, but I watched the game on television down there. All right. So I would say, with this type of game, I'd love to see them open up the passing game more. Maybe try some plays that they haven't run this year, because it's just they got to get the passing game going to me. When they play Detroit or some of these playoff teams, they're going to have to pass the ball. I know Barkley's going to be key because, you have to run up the clock and get a lead and eat the clock up. I get all that. Keep the opposing offense. But they're still going to have to throw in some of these games. And I don't know. This passing game to me is a little concerning. To me, it should be better than it is.
Well, I think they'll definitely have opportunity to try that and test out a whole bunch of stuff. But it would, I agree with that. It'd be nice to see Hurts get into a nice rhythm where they just show you that, yep, they can impose their will offensively through the air as well. But I also think that, Barkley is so close. Well, he's going to get a 2,000-yard season, but then to break Eric Dickerson's all-time record, I think the Eagles are conscientious about that. And I think that Barkley is still going to get lots of touches from here on out. Because I think
Do you think that means to Barkley though? He just seems to be a guy like
he does.
Do you think he'd want to get the record? I mean, I guess anybody would want to get the record, but
I think the all-time record, yes. I think he would say yes. All those years toiling away with the Giants, wasting his talent, and now he's got a great offensive line, and he's got a shot to be the best season of all time in football and get back some of the stuff that he lost maybe in the first 4 years. 100%, I would say Barkley's into that.
Yeah, and something else to that is the offensive line. They get rewarded, they get the accolades because they're the ones that blocked for the guy who broke the record. So in that respect, they probably would go for it. But do you do it at the risk of hurting him? If it's the end of the year and let's just say the Eagles have wrapped it up. And the last week game against the Giants, I think it's the Giants. They played Giants last, I think. Say he's within 80 yards of the record going into the game, and the game is meaningless. They already clinched first, or they can't help their seed, whether it's first, second, whatever. Do they?
The last game being against the Giants, I think Barkley's definitely a guy.
That's a good point. That's a good
record against this team that said I wasn't worth $20 million a year, like 100%.
And as you said that now, it almost seems like it could be scripted, like out of a book.
I would say 100%.
Right, he would do it against his freaking former team.
Yep.
Man, as if the Giants need any more salt poured in their wounds.
They are hurting this season. They are absolutely hurting.
That is funny though.
I don't see if he's within 100 yards. If it's something like, I need a 200-yard game, no, I don't see him going for it. But if it's a 100-yard game, maybe even just over 100 yards, I think they go try to get it, which would make it fascinating because the Giants are going to want to stop that. So
but think about it. To do that, though, they'd have to have all their starters in, all their offensive line.
Yep.
Risk all of them potentially being injured.
If the game is worth something, I do think the caveat is the game has to be worth something, right? If there's no impact on the
I'm saying there's nothing they can do with the seeding. They're set either at 1 or the 2 seed. If they win or lose, they can't move one way or the other. What do you do?
Go.
Still play him?
I think it's a go. I think he would go.
All right. Yeah, it's definitely an interesting sort of scenario that might play out. So see how it goes. All right, I don't know how I went on that tangent, but let's get back to the Carolina game. So keys to the game. As you mentioned, I know I was looking at more passing. Really, I just want a quick start. That would be my key to the game. I want to see this team go out there and a team they should absolutely maul them. I want them to be up 17-0 at the end of the first quarter.
We'll see. I think the Eagles have a tendency to play down to their competition.
They do.
So I can see this game being closer than you want at halftime, and then the Eagles come out and blow them out of the water in the second half like they've been doing to teams.
Yeah, so I definitely see that too. That's why I'm saying I'd like to see this. I'd like to see that.
One key to the game, I agree, would be put them away early and play your scrubs in the second half. But at the same time, Jalen, again, just keep making smart decisions and throw that ball out of the field of play. If you're not feeling it, don't try to be more than what you are, and then just play smart football and run the ball. I honestly think, if they didn't have Barkley, I think you could run anybody behind this offensive line and at least get 100 yards.
Yeah. Well, I think the perfect scenario for this game would be, like we were saying, get up, big lead, and be able to rest these guys in the second half, pull the starters, and get them ready for next week. Because next week's probably their last big test of the year, home against the Steelers. So that's going to be, I think it's the Steelers, right? Steelers next week?
Steelers.
And then Washington? Yeah.
Yep. And then 3 opponents.
And Washington will be, I don't want to sit there and say Washington won't be a test, but I think the Steelers are the toughest team left on the schedule. The Eagles have already beaten Washington. But Washington, they're obviously a good team too. So those are the final real two, unless Dallas still has something left in the tank at the end of the year. But I don't know. I don't know what they have left at this point. It'd be nice turnovers, like you said. I'd like to see this team get some more turnovers, create some turnovers. I don't know if they have anyone that can block. I don't know if anybody can block Carter right now. I mean, Carter's just been. He is. You look at his game the other night. It's amazing how quick he goes from point A. He's lined up here against this guy, and here's the gap, and he's here within a heartbeat. He's over here, so fast.
He's extremely fast. His first three moves, you're like, whoop, 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 and you're like, wow.
He's like, I've never seen a guy so shifty on the line, so fast.
Yeah, he's super quick and strong because when he comes back and slides out of the way, he's knocking people over.
Yeah, he just clubs them and they go. Yeah, he's got some strength too. I mean, he's starting to turn into Jerome Brown. I mean, he really is. At this point, I could start saying definitively that he is, Jerome Brown-esque, the way that he's playing now that he's doing it every single game in and game out. It's fun to watch this guy because, we mentioned it. He's like the catalyst to this defense.
100%. I'd like to see Q get a pick. He's been so close all along. And I think once he gets one, I think it's going to be I think they're going to come in handfuls of picks. So I want him to get one before the playoffs. Yeah. So that he knows that feeling and doesn't try to press too hard. And they'll start.
CJ stays away from him.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
You would have one if it wasn't for CJ.
Yeah. I'm sure he let CJ know about that one too.
Yeah, he was not happy with CJ.
Yeah. So just handle your business. That's all the keys of the game. Yeah. Don't do anything stupid. Sirianni, kick the freaking points, kick the field goals if they're there. Don't play this, we're better than you. And
right. We're gonna go especially since you need to get Elliott back into a rhythm.
Yep.
Anyway. So yeah.
When they're there, don't fool around, put the team away.
Yeah.
And really shouldn't even be close.
It shouldn't. So with that being said, we're going to wrap it up. Let's give the predictions for the Carolina game. Now, Matt, as we mentioned, if you missed our recap, he barely missed. He basically was dead on target with the prediction for the Raven game. You guessed 24-21 and ended up being 24-19. So Matt was dead on accurate. So let's see if he can duplicate his successful prediction this week with Carolina.
I'm going to bump up the Eagles to 27.
Okay.
And I'm going to leave the Panthers down at 13.
27-13. I'm going to go. I was high last week with scoring. And I feel I'm going to be high again. Higher than you, at least. So even though you were so right last week, I'm still going to go high. I should be closer to what you're asking. You're talking about the Eagles, but I'm going to go 33 Eagles. And
the year they were established, 1933.
Exactly. 33 Eagles. And what do I want to give the Cardinals? I mean, the Cardinals.
How about the Panthers? You are high.
I'm not high. I wrote Carolina on here. And when I looked at it without my glasses on, I looked at it and it looked like Cardinals to me. I'm getting old. All right. We're playing the Panthers. Everyone just tuning in.
Panthers, everybody.
And we're going to give them – I think this defense is playing so good right now, but I can see them getting a late garbage touchdown or something like that. I don't know. I just want to give them like 10.
10 is good.
Like I do see the Eagles hopefully – doing what they should do, and that's destroying this team. Am I undercutting the Panthers? That's my question, because they have played well. They almost beat the Chiefs, and last week they played well against another decent team last week and just barely lost. I forget who it was. Do you remember?
No.
So they are playing much better. Bryce Young's playing better, which is good to see because I like to see this kid. He was benched, and it's always embarrassing as a first-round pick to be benched, and he's getting a second turn now, and he's playing a lot better, so good for him. So, but I just think the Eagles need to just I don't know. I just don't see this team skipping a heartbeat. I just see them plugging along, and this is a team they should beat up good, and I think they're going to beat them up good. So 33-10. Matt's got 27-13. Enjoy the game, everybody. Make sure you like, subscribe, and all that kind of fun stuff. And until next time, thank you for tuning in. Fly, Eagles, fly. Matt, thanks for joining us.
Go Birds.
And we'll be back for the post-game show on Sunday evening. All right, that's flying in the background. All right, everybody, take care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Go Birds. And we'll catch you on Sunday evening. See you later.
Bye.